What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to Impactful Living Podcast.
Where it's all about impacting the masses.
Yes, and so today we have a special topic, right? Because it's been 4 years, and we're going to talk about the impact of 2020 on marriages.
Yep.
How many of you guys are married and went through that pandemic? It was probably one of the craziest times, I would have to say. It tested people's marriages. Some people realized they didn't like each other. Some people got closer together. There was a lot of roller coasters in that span, I would say.
Yeah.
How do you feel about 2020?
It was a challenge. I mean, it definitely brought some positivity, but also came with negativity as well. So, for a lot of people, it could be the same thing. Some people marriages got completely wiped out because they realized that they're not meant to be together. They can't stand each other. Some people their marriages grew. Some people marriages got saved because of pandemic.
Yeah, they had to be together at all day, 24/7. So, but the ones that didn't make it, realizing, what, I might have married the wrong person because you get wrapped up into the day to day, running to work, dealing with your kids, passing each other, and you realize, I really didn't know this person.
Yeah, yeah, but I think what was good for us is because we already done it before, so we worked together a lot,
Yeah,
right?
we're always together.
So it wasn't new, in a sense that all right, we're locked in the house. A lot of stuff did change because I used to do certain things, but I wasn't able to do those things anymore. But you have to remember too, pandemic happened 1 or 2 weeks right after your kidney transplant.
Yeah, it was like right. No, it wasn't like.
It was the ninth.
It, no.
You got it on the ninth.
That was in
On the
January, but I
Yeah.
think it's not
It,
till February or March
nah,
did they announce
nah.
it.
They did the lockdown, but
Oh, yeah.
the whole COVID situation,
Yeah.
that whole C word, right? That whole thing start happening right at like in January, a little bit right afterwards, and we was like, we're so grateful that you were able to do it because they start turning away people or start locking down certain places, being more careful.
Yeah, it was a tough time. A lot of people, my heart goes out to anybody that lost family from
Yeah.
that. A lot of people passed away. A lot of people did not make it. And that was a tough time for a lot of families just dealing with that, even in your marriage, right? Just dealing with people, your parents passing away and having to learn how to, be there and console somebody during that time. It was just a lot. But for us, we actually, during that pandemic, we had family that
Mm-hmm.
happened to move in with us at that particular time because
Yep.
you can't go nowhere, right? So we all just kind of buckled down together during that time, and it was tough as well. It was good, it was fun,
There's
but it was
Yeah,
tough.
it was good parts and there was bad parts to
Yeah.
it, right? A lot more good than bad, but in a sense, like you have more people in the house.
Hmm.
So in a sense, it's like, now remember, we always you throw stuff, so it's like everybody together, but then you feel like you're on top of each other sometimes, or like you might want a little bit of privacy, and then you don't get that.
Hmm.
So there's good and bad, but they did leave in the midst of pandemic as well.
That too. Yeah, but you know what? I think really when everybody's inside, I don't know about you guys, at that particular time, we weren't going anywhere, we weren't doing anything, and when COVID hit our house, that was tough because you had to see everybody in your household get hit one by one, right? And it was scary.
So how was that on our marriage, you think?
Um, I think it was a little bit stressful, and the reason why I would say that, I mean, we made it through, right? But because my husband got blamed a lot because he brought COVID inside of the house. As that's what we would say, right? He had visitors that came through, and COVID came in our house, and the first person to get it was my aunt. my mom, everybody was just getting it one by one by one by one.
Yeah.
And I think when you didn't really know how to maneuver through that, so it kind of like you shut down in a way. And so I didn't know how to deal with it, right? It's like I don't want to blame you, but then at the same time, we just had a lot of responsibilities.
Yeah.
Everybody's just
I
looking at
mean,
us because COVID, everybody thought everybody was going to die
yeah,
at
yeah.
that time.
But the thing is, right? Nobody knew what to expect because of the simple fact that all this stuff was going on. I think the toughest part for me was I had to have the hard conversation with Armani when he
Oh
was like,
yeah.
he
Those
came to
tough
me and was like,
conversations.
he was like, "Yo, am I gonna die?" And I'm like, "Yo, when your kid come to you and look at you and say that, it's like, yo, that's tough
It is.
because it's like, yo, now you start feeling some type of way,
Yeah.
right? But the thing is, because we even though we kind of was like isolated in a sense where we couldn't do nothing, we still was on the phone calling each other. You could be in the room, I could be in the next room,
Everybody was in their
but
own room,
we're calling
isolating.
each other, making sure that we check up, and I think it all comes back to good communication, right? That's
Yeah.
why we always talk about this in marriage. And maybe for some of you right now that are still married, or whatever you experienced during your relationship at that point, how was it for you? I know for us, the reason why certain things went well is because we communicated with each other, and that's why I always say
Absolutely.
communication is always great in a relationship. You have to be able to communicate. And I think by sitting down and just reasoning with Armani kind of put him at ease a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Put everybody at ease in some sense, but still the tension was there because we didn't know what would have happened or what
Correct.
could have
But
happened.
we all, I think, like you said, the communication was a big thing, right? Because we all kind of sat down and we just accepted it for what it was and we stopped blaming or any of that. And it really helped us get past that particular point. I think it challenged everybody, COVID challenged everybody's mental health, right? Because you weren't going outside. You weren't seeing sunlight. You weren't interacting with your friends and doing the day to day things that you're accustomed to doing. So I feel like mentally, it was tough.
Yeah, I mean, 2020, you have to look at it in perspective. Like, yo, a lot of marriages got tested, right? But even if somebody's going through their mental health, or mentally, the other person have to be there to kind of help them or see what's going on. Hey, let's have a conversation, or how can I help you? Sometimes you won't even know if that person is going through a thing because they're so isolated, they don't want to talk.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of, what do you say, short with you, right? And it could be different things, but I just say, like, if you have a spouse and you know them as a person that loves to talk or loves to conversate with you, if you see a difference in change, a difference in communication, then you need to just say, all right, something else is going on,
Yeah,
right?
you had to pick up
And
on clues.
you have to be able to say, all right, you know what? My person needs help. Whether it's
Yeah.
that my wife needs help or my husband needs help, how can I help them? And it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to just jump and say, hey, how can I help you? The answer is most likely going to be no. But if you go in certain
Mm-hmm.
ways where you see certain things that they normally do and be like, hey, do you need me to help you with this? Or
Yeah.
instead of just, how can I help you? Just go ahead and start doing certain things that they'll appreciate if you do it. Right.
Yeah, I
And that
think we actually started turning things around and started enjoying 2020 a lot more when we said, okay, this is just what it's going to be. Let's just make the best out of it, right? So we had family game nights, we did karaoke, we went in the backyard, we had water fights.
Yeah.
We did it in a way where the kids weren't too much affected. Yes, they weren't seeing their school friends and so forth, but outside of that, they enjoyed. Like, we talked to our son last night and said, how was 2020 for you? He said it was terrific. I had a
Yeah.
great time. It was the best time of my life.
Yeah, the only thing was the school part, right?
Right.
Is but that's part of homeschooling. If somebody that homeschools right now, they might say that's a breeze for them, but
Mm-hmm.
for the parents that actually had to go out to work, and then they have a child that needs to that have to stay home because there's no they're homeschooled, then it could be tough on them,
Yeah, it
right?
could be, but it allowed you to figure out different resources. You like, you know what? I have to get certain things in place.
But that's the reason why sometimes you have to look at it right now in 2024 and say, yo, you made it. If you made it, if you're in a marriage right now and you made it through all that, that means that, yo, you can make it through, I won't say almost anything, but you should give yourself a pat on the back, right? Because through tough times you still were able to make it through,
Yep.
right? You had to learn how to pivot, and everybody had to learn how to pivot
Yeah.
in that time, right? Whether it's business, whether it's friendship, whether it's your marriage, right? We had to learn how to move different, how to communicate, right? Certain things that we have to talk about, certain things that we used to do, as far as with our kids,
Yeah.
right? We used to now. It came to a point where we used to cook what, 3 times a day.
Oh my gosh, guys. I'm telling you, first of all, I had got the transplant during 2020 and I wasn't leaving the house. So, and I wasn't eating nobody's outside food either. So, we were cooking breakfast, lunch, dinner, little snacks in between. I mean, we really had to be creative at that time, but we meal prepped and we meal planned, and that's where I think the meal prepping for me started was in 2020. I mean, I can't say that 2020 was a bust because it changed the whole dynamics of my life, right? I started meal prepping and I got into that, and I still do that to this day. You know, on a Saturday or Sunday night, I'm already figuring out what are we going to eat for the whole week. And I'm planning that things out. But we had fun. We got together in the kitchen. If I'm cooking, he's cooking. I mean, listen, guys, we had all the time in the world.
Ain't that
Okay.
crazy though?
We had
It's
all the
like,
time in the world.
ain't that crazy? It's like, yo, you can either turn something in, you can either view something as negative, right? Because something bad did happen.
Yes.
But you can also say, yo, you could view it as positive. What good came out of it,
Mm-hmm.
right? We can either focus on the negative part of it, or we can focus on the positive part. And that's what we want to highlight. It's like, yo, what what are the good things that came out of 2020 for you? How did it change your marriage? Did it improve your marriage as far as you guys getting more connected to each other,
Yeah.
you learning certain things that you didn't know about your spouse? Those are the things that we want to highlight in a sense.
Yeah. What else did we do during that time? Oh, when we couldn't be together, that was the toughest time for me, right? I realized, I mean, I love my husband, but I realized how much I didn't want to be away from him because when COVID hit the house, we were all in separate rooms at that particular time and we couldn't see each other much. And at one point it started for me, it started messing with me mentally. I said, okay, I need to get outside. We would go outside and be on opposite sides of the road, having full blown conversations and walking. But just that isolated period, I realized I'm not that type of person. I'm a people person. I enjoy getting out and talking to people. I enjoy your company. And no,
Aww.
seriously, it made me really value my marriage and my relationship. It made me say, you know, God forbid something happens to my husband. How am I going to maneuver through this?
I mean, that should be for
It,
anybody.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll probably go cuckoo,
yeah. I just, I
but
didn't know what would
but
happen.
in things people pivot. But the great thing is when it comes down to that, we was walking all the time, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the time where, just like you said, you just had your kidney transplant. So before you used to walk in the
Yeah,
house
a
or
little bit.
whatnot, but as the months go by, then we start going outside, and then you're walking, and it was just something to where we say, all right, you know what, we gotta make the most of it.
But you know
So
what? When you're happy, guess what happens, guys? You gain weight, right? We were cooking 3 times a day. We were just sitting
yeah,
around enjoying
yeah,
life. And we said, okay, enough is enough. Like, I don't
yeah.
know about anybody else,
Start to
but
get
did you
plump.
guys start to gain weight during that
I
time.
started to get plump a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit is an understatement. We was all getting
Oh, you
plump.
trying to say I was fat?
I didn't say
You
that.
trying to say I was
I
fat?
said we all were gaining weight, right? And on top
Yeah.
of that, I was on medication. So I was gaining weight kind of rapidly. And so at that particular time, I think is when we started taking fitness a little bit serious. And a lot of you guys did too, because nobody could go to the gym.
Yeah.
So what did we have to do?
Yeah.
Like you said, we had to pivot. We started doing at-home workouts on the
Mhm.
TV. We turned our one of our bedrooms, our spare bedrooms, into a mini gym. And we just started getting it, right? And I think that helped with the mental health. It helped with build our connection as husband and wife, because now we are working out together. We getting fine together, right? We were doing little things like that
Yeah, before
together.
we used to walk, but we never used to work out together.
Yeah, we weren't lifting and
Yeah,
doing all of that.
wasn't working out together.
A lot of cardio.
So with that, it's like, yeah, since 2020, that changed.
That did.
Right? So you have to look at the things that happened and be like,
It saves
okay.
a lot of people's health, because a lot of people realize that, man, I'm gaining a lot of weight. My diabetes are out of control, hypertension, everything is crazy. And there was a lot of people that decided to change their life. A lot of people lost weight after that. A lot of people are in shape. Like, look at yourself in the gym from where you were in the beginning of 2020 to where you are now. Some of y'all doing it, right? So like my husband said, give yourself a round of applause because you're doing it. But fitness was one of the biggest things I would say that came out of that, the changes.
Yeah. And then what else? I'll say what, social media?
Well, I would say that I personally
I
changed.
I kind of withdrew because the thing is, just like you said, mental health, but I was going through it too. You get what I'm saying? Because think about it, guys, and this is for anybody that has a spouse that deals with any kind of chronic illness. It's like a lot of people only pay attention to the person that's going through the situation, which
Mm-hmm.
they are going through something. I'm not downplaying that, but the caregiver, the person that they're married to or their significant other, they're going through something as well.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And for me, it's like I was going through that as far as you just getting a transplant, then I have to deal with the kids and
A lot of
have
doctor's appointments
have
and
families in, and it's just it was just a lot at the time.
your plate was
Um,
heavy.
play feel like it's always full, but it's okay. It's okay. But that's the thing though. So
What doesn't kill you make you stronger.
no, it doesn't. So at that time, I was in social media, but I fell off. I fell off at that
I
point.
think you withdrew, and when you fell back, I think you enjoyed it.
I do.
Right?
Trust
Like
me.
he is
Now,
not a
now
social media person.
Now I even like. So remember, I didn't post on social media for a year.
Yeah.
That like I just start posting back on social media, and for me, it's like even though I know I should post more, it's like, man, the days that I don't post, it's like
It feels good.
I feel so good.
Because you know what? There's not
Like
the demand. People are not wanting anything from you. You're just living your life.
no, it's not that. Now sometimes I look at it as me being selfish too, though.
Oh.
Because at some point, and there's that tug and pull from
Yeah, but your mental health matters more than anything.
I know, but sometimes that same thing triggers you because there's a tug and pull where I know that I can help people if I'm on social media.
Yeah.
My thing is not look at me. My thing is more of helping. My thing is more of how can I teach these people to be better in real estate?
Yeah.
How can I teach them to be better, or give them a tip on marriage, or show them what it is to be a good dad in a sense, right? Not saying I'm a great dad or anything, but just showing that there's if I can be there for my kids, it can motivate somebody else to be there for their kids.
Absolutely.
As well, right? It can give them a hint of what to do with their kids, whether it's to play ball, whether it's to go fishing, whether it's to do whatever. So sometimes I look at it as like I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do because if I'm on social media, I can't.
He's a giver, right? And I think because during that time you did complain a little bit, like, man, I'm not serving the way I need to serve. That was his word.
Right.
And it's like he likes to serve other people. He wants to constantly just help those that want to be helped. And I think because you weren't able to, kind of, maybe affected you.
Yeah. But with that though, you you took on social media by storm
I
at that
came out
point.
of my cocoon, right?
Yeah.
They would say, and I became this social butterfly. I told myself when I got this second chance at life that I was going to document my whole journey from beginning. I'm not going to say till the end, but it's from the beginning. I was going to document everything. And I was afraid, to get on the camera. You were used to it because you used to do your Monday motivation back in the day, years ago. Back in the day when y'all had to actually dial in on a phone number and
Yeah.
call and listen to somebody. I don't know if I might get be too old, but whatever. But people used to do that before social media.
Yeah.
And so me coming out behind him, right? I'm like, wow, how am I gonna come out behind my husband who's always out here motivating, speaking to people? So I was a little intimidated because I had some big shoes to walk in. And then I realized that we are all uniquely made. And my journey is different than his. And what he's speaking about is different than what I'm speaking about, right? You guys already know I'm heavy into the health, and because I got the second chance at life. So all I wanted to do was just empower people to take control of their health before, things got worse. And so that's all I did was just document it. And one video turned into, I don't know, I probably have like over 200 videos at this
No,
point,
over five. You gotta know it. Over 500 videos.
right?
Over
Like
500
I, I,
videos.
yeah, but in
So,
one playlist, I think I have
so
like that much.
yeah. But
But
the crazy thing is, if you can do it, you
you
can
can
do
do
it,
it,
right?
okay?
And you have to take it. You have to take it in a sense where, like, you are uniquely made, just like you said. Everybody's uniquely made, and you have a God-given gift, right?
Yep.
So whatever it is, share it. Sometimes if you feel like you're not doing that, because sometimes I feel that way, like I'm not giving enough, but when I do share, it feels amazing. And sometimes it doesn't mean that you have to share on social media. It could just be a platform that you create, or you share it with somebody else at work, or a small
Yeah.
group, or whatever it is. But it's just, what do you find yourself great at? For 2020, it did a lot of positive stuff. Um, and we're highlighting those stuff. And you have to look back and say, yo, what can I evaluate? What can I even go further on?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So social media was a big thing.
Yeah.
That definitely, and then it's like I was doing her videos, I was telling her what to do and certain things and showing her how to do this, and she was doing the same thing for it, but we
Yeah,
worked together.
we were supporting each other down the path that we wanted to go, right? Even though we're married and we're together and we may work together, but we have different what would you call that? Different
We're
end
different.
goals, I would say. You were focused on teaching people about real estate and I was focused on just guiding people through their health challenges. And I think we just made a great team in that support.
Hey, and listen, anything that you see out there for me is, she has a part to do with it. I'll just let you know right now. She has a part to do it. So I am very grateful for what we went through, because it only made us stronger.
Yeah.
As far as family wise, our family sit down and we ate together, and
Yeah.
we have those amazing conversations,
Yeah.
conversations that, like, is like you won't remember until the kids came back late years later and be like, hey, you remember when this was happening? Even now it happens where we
Yeah.
have those conversations, and our kids remind us about certain things. And I'm like, man, you know, there was great times in
Yeah.
everything. That's why I said, yo,
You have to look for the good.
you have to look for the good. We can't just sit here and be like, yo, we're going through something bad right now, so it just, yo, I'm just having a bad day. You're having a bad moment, right?
Yeah.
But if you sit here and dwell in that bad can become
It
worse,
festers.
and it just can get bigger. But if you highlight and say, yo, all right, this is bad, whatever situation it is, but it's temporary, but there's always a solution for every problem. For every problem there's a solution.
Absolutely.
There's no one to it. For every problem there's a solution. So the thing is, if you can't figure it out, find somebody else who can help you with it, and it could be the person that you sleep in right next to, right? So those are things that I felt like, give us the opportunity to even say, yo, our marriage got it got tested, but at the same time it's like, yo, there's a lot of good stuff that came out of it too.
Yeah.
And
And
it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be great if we didn't have challenges, because I'll tell you right now, our marriage is not perfect.
yeah.
Right? We have challenges. We're human beings. We will have our days, right? But do we communicate? Yes. Do we like respect each other? Yes. Do we try to make sure that we're satisfying each other? Yes. Right? Those are things that you have to look at and just have the respect for the person. Say, yo, I'm here for a lifetime, not for a season. So let's make the best of it.
And I also, coming out of that 2020, realized that my feelings, my thoughts, what I'm going through matters. And so, what I started doing was journaling. I
Mm-hmm.
started journaling hard. I have books and books and books of journals because I figured you have to write things down, right? Yep. And sometimes I go back and I pull out the stack and I read what I was going through and I start to reflect and I start to give God praise because I've been through a lot, right? But if it wasn't for those journals, I wouldn't be able to have that. I wouldn't be able to express that. You know, sometimes having a journal feels like a kid again, where you used to write all your deep, dark secrets and things of that nature. But it wasn't that. It was just what I was going through at that particular time. But the nice thing is that I came out with the devotional and I came out with the password logbooks and I came out with the journals and all of that since then because I'm all about empowering our community. And you guys, you can find all of that on Amazon. So, click on the link. You can get yours as well too. But it's definitely important that we write out and express how we feel and don't keep things in. Back then, we used to say in the beginning, oh, 2020, oh, we don't talk about that. No, talk about it because it's something that actually happened. And there was,
Mm-hmm.
like my husband said, there was a lot of good that came out of it. You just have to find what that good was and just run with that. So we took the good, we left all the bad, right? But we took the good and we built upon that. And now my kids could look back 4 years later and tell me that was the best time of their life. And to be honest, even though it was challenging and people were getting sick and we were losing people, it honestly probably was the best time in my life as well, right? I got my second chance at life. I grew closer with my children because I had all the time in the world with them. My husband and I, we got stronger. I mean, I feel like we are already there, but I felt like it got even stronger. And I'm thankful for my family that came for that visiting time. We got to spend that quality time with them that no one can take those memories
No,
back,
no.
right? So all of those memories were good. The laughs, the cries, the jokes, all of that I took and I'm so thankful. So it was really good, like reflecting on 2020. And I wanted you guys to reflect on it just as well because, hey, we're 4 years deep now. And so you take, like I had said before, you take the good and you build your future upon that.
And then the bad, just learn from it.
Exactly.
What did you do wrong, or what could you have done different? And just run with it. We can always improve. We can always improve because we're not perfect.
Yeah. Guys, and that was Impactful Living Podcast. Thank you guys so much. Share this video with your friends and your family, and we will see you guys next time.
All right, guys. See you on the next one.